You don't want to mess with these 10 animals. 10 capercaillies. You probably choose a bird like the capercail to steal from if you wanted to steal an egg or two for your dinner. They're a type of grouse, so they're not particularly bright, and their heads point skyward, giving the impression that they're stargazing. But don't be fooled by their cute appearance. These obese little beasts will kick your ass up and down the forest. Male western capercaillies display heightened territoriality and aggression during mating season, often willing to fight all comers, including unlucky birdwatchers who get too close. It seems that this behavior isn't all male capercaillies. 9 moray eels. Moray eels are terrifying creatures that compete with angler fish for the title of the ocean's scariest-looking denizen. They lurk near reefs and rocky areas in shallow seas, waiting to pounce on any passing prey. A moray eel may mistake a diver's hand for an unwary crab. You can probably guess where I'm heading with this. With many of the 200 different species having needle-like teeth, a bite from one of these dead-eyed creatures might be rather uncomfortable. Given that their teeth are placed backwards, generating a tear-like bite, and that their mucus contains 2 types of terrible venom that causes red blood cells to clump and finally die, calling their bite unpleasant may be an understatement. Plus, have a peek at their expression. 8. Hairy frogs. The hairy frog may be the most metal animal ever. Not only looks like the type of amphibian who'd be first into the mosh pit at a Slayer show, but it also has a unique defense mechanism when it feels threatened. It falls down and breaks its own legs. They thrust a bone spur through the flesh of their feet by breaking the nodule that sheets it whenever they are attacked or picked up by uncaring researchers attempting to study them in their native Central African woodlands. Like an X-Men Wolverine who can't heal. So, if they aren't hazardous, why would humans want to meddle with them? Would you want to be the one to let a helpless young fraud break his or her own legs out of fear? 7. Tiger centipede. Swelling, redness, itching, anaphylaxis, and tissue necrosis are all symptoms of a creepy crawler bite. So what distinguishes a bite from a big desert centipede, also known as the tiger centipede? From a bumblebee sting, for example, the agony. Mercy's sweet mother, the agony. Naturalist Coyote Peterson, awesome reputation, has made a name for himself in the realm of people doing risky things in the name of progress by making his way through the list of Insect Sting Pain Index, also known as the Schmidt Pain Index, named after entomologist Justin Schmidt. What is the significance of his name? Because he, like Coyote, willingly subjected himself to a succession of bug stings for the sake of knowledge. The bullet ant and the tarantula hawk wasp are commonly thought of as the insect world's worst pain givers. This simply totally tops all the insect stings I've taken, Coyote Peterson says. To be honest, I believe him. 6. Australian magpies. Humans who come within a few feet of an Australian magpie's nest appear to have developed a pathological loathing for them. As a result, these black and white scumbags have decided to dive bomb anyone who enters their near zone of safety, particularly cyclists. Over 3,000 magpie assaults on humans have occurred in Australia this year, with 399 people sustaining injuries, not just a jump scare on their way to work through the park. 5. Camel spiders. These Middle Eastern monstrosities are so terrifying that they become the stuff of urban legends. They may not use a local anesthetic to use their massive mandibles to create coin-sized holes in your torso, so they can burrow inside and consume your guts from within, but they are nasty little arachnids that might give you one hell of a bite and hell of a shock. While the fact that they resemble a hybrid between a big scorpion and a spider may be enough to have most people run screaming for their mothers, they do have one unique feature that puts them high on this list. They're incredibly quick. Maybe not fast enough to catch a decently fit and healthy person sprinting at full speed, but with a top speed of 10 miles per hour, you'd better hope your ankle isn't injured. 4. Alligator snapping turtle. Humans are frequently found in possession of some extremely hazardous creatures as a result of an apparently endless exotic animal trade. You might be thinking, what? When we consider that this huge turtle is one of them. It's a turtle, of course. They're sluggish and charming, save for some ninja weaponry and a rat sensei. Wrong. These massive animals aren't even fit for many experienced hands, according to Thomas Coy of Austin's Turtle Page, a website for turtle fans and caretakers. The alligator snapping turtle possesses one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom, with a bite force of 1,000 pounds per square inch. They may not be as powerful as a jaguar, 1,350 gorilla, 1,300 or crocodile, 3,700 but no one would ever try to embrace one of these creatures. But a friendly little turtle? Prepare to say goodbye to your thumbs if you want to give it a shot. 3. Giant anteaters. Alwa. The turtles are cute, but these guys are even cuter. Until you take a closer look at those claws. And especially if you are familiar with how they fight when they are threatened. Giant anteaters rear up, lift their claws and swipe, leaving anyone unfortunate enough to come into contact with these Central/South American creatures thinking, so that's what my guts look like. 2 Brazilian hunters were killed by anteaters in 2010 and 2012, respectively. Both incidents raised concerns about the species' habitat being lost, possibly signaling that more encounters are on the way. In 2009, an Argentine zookeeper was mauled to death while working with a particularly violent anteater within the enclosure. The ancient Aztecs saw the animal as a funny, trickster-like creature, while surrealists such as Salvador Dali and animator Max Fleischer noted the animal's peculiar appearance. Remember the claws. 2. Assassin bugs. The name gives the game away. These insects are frequently ranked as one of the top animals responsible for human mortality. However, they are largely an irritation because their bite is painful and itchy. Some species have the horrific habit of wearing the bodies of their defeated foes, adhering the body of the slain bug to their back, which is coated in a sticky substance. So, how do they assassinate people? Although most assassin bugs do not harm humans, the kissing bug, Rhonius prolixus, is a South American species that carries the parasite protozoan that causes Chagas disease. Around 7 million people, predominantly in South America, are affected by the disease, which can cause major heart difficulties, neurological disorders, and early mortality. Last but not least, sloth. We've seen some very deplorable creatures, as well as some adorable ones. The world's sloths tend to divide people in terms of how they are viewed. Some think them completely adorable, while others find them scary and strange looking. You don't want to mess with a wild specimen, no matter what you think of them. Is it true that every sloth has a switchblade hidden beneath their fur, despite their sluggish movements? Of course not, but there's more to their fur than meets the eye. There were a lot of bugs, larvae, and mites, as well as a lot of awful stench. On the body of this slow-moving tree hanger, moths, mites, a stinky green algae, and, on one specimen, over 980 scarab beetles live. When you consider that a sloth excretes a third of its body weight in feces every time it poos, sloths may be the grossest animal on the planet. On the plus side, that vile algae could be home to a species of fungus that cures cancer. We need to start raising funds to buy clothes, pegs for sloth biologists' noses.